Hi, it's Ralph and Lahni, and we're back again with another episode of Planetary Calendar. And this time we're going to jump right into November 2020.
Now we're going to read the lunations first. The Scorpio new moon on the 14th has a wonderfully intense harmony thanks to Jupiter and Pluto in determined, ambitious Capricorn. These are smooth, focused, but restrictive times. Play hardball. This reset between expansion Jupiter and restriction Saturn requires hard-headed decisions. Note, the next section, K, which is for the 30th, there's a typo. That was supposed to be a black box day. We put a white circle day. Shoot the typesetter.
Don't shoot the typesetter.
Oh, okay, thank you. That's very kind of you.
No.
The Sagittarian Gemini full moon eclipse, black box day on the 30th, is felt personally, with the bellicose red star Antares conjunct the sun. Be energetic. Direct your life where you want it to go. Otherwise, risk being run over. There's a quote for you. You can be on the right track, but if you just sit still, you'll get run over. That was by Will Rogers, an early 20th century comedian cowboy.
So, Lonnie's helpful hint, I recommend that you do it right now while you're thinking of it. Get out the black Sharpie and make a little box around the number 30 there so you don't forget that that's not a white circle. That's a full moon eclipse black box.
Yes, eclipses are always marked as a black box. It's not just because they're oppositions, because they're intense oppositions. And this one's conjunct Antares, the great red giant, who has a very warlike personality. Though it is also Cyber Monday, so we'll see. Days to watch. On the 3rd, Mercury finally turns direct, but in indecisive Libra. So stuck communications will get unstuck gradually. The black box day on the 6th may trigger arguments, so pour some oil in the waters. On the 10th, Mercury enters decisive Scorpio, clearing confusion. On Friday the 13th, always an entertaining day, Mars in the ruling sign Aries finally turns direct. Put on the boxing gloves and get to work. Remember, Mars goes retrograde the least of any planet. Mars has been retrograde in Aries, its ruling sign. This has been a very frustrating time. A lot of energy is going to release real quickly. That's why we say, put on the boxing gloves and get to work. Don't sit on your hands. On the 17th, Mercury opposite Uranus potentially frizzles the day, which is why it gets a black box. Although genius is possible if you stay focused and pay attention. The white circle on the 18th offers help towards ambitious goals. So if you really need a hand up, time it well. On the 21st, Venus is leaving ruling sign Libra for introvert detriment sign in Scorpio. And the Sun enters optimistic Sagittarius. It's kind of a mixed message there. But focus on those close to you on that day. On the 23rd, there's a white circle day, and it's a time for inspired thought and enthusiastic storytelling. On the 28th, Neptune turns direct amid a host of positive aspects supporting spiritual development, imagination, and collective action. And I should also say financial advancement. Neptune a lot of times is actually an important money planet.
So before we get to the meditations and the essential oils, I just want to mention how interesting it is that we've got these pairs of black box, white circle, black box, white circle, black box, white circle, and then it reverses white circle, black box. Sorry again for that mistake with that white circle day there. We thought they were going to outnumber the black boxes. But, they often are the catalyst one for the other. The black box sets up the work you need to do for that white circle to be the most appropriate time and the other way around. So it's just kind of interesting. That doesn't always happen, but And that's jam packed. To have 4 black
Hmm.
boxes and 4 white circle days in 1 month is a lot for us.
Very
So
productive because
yeah.
the black box is about getting
Lot
things
going
done,
on in November.
accepting the challenges, the squares and oppositions. Are you working on it? And then on the white circle days, it's all trines and sextiles, so things run smoothly. It's like the best way to be an instant success is to work on it for 10 years.
Well, and interestingly, we also have 2 meteor showers days, the 5th and the 18th. We just put the day of the peak. Usually it's a day before and a day after or something like that. So check in your area where it's going to peak for you. But we've got the Taurids and the Leonids. And of course, election day starts out the month on the 3rd. So it's already set up to be a kind of busy, dramatic, fireworks kind of month. So
It's interesting that election
put
day,
on your roller skates.
on election day, Mercury, the planet of communication, goes direct.
Right.
In Libra, the sign of justice and the courts.
Well, and I think it's also interesting to have both Mercury and Mars, 2 very personal planets that have been very, very frustratingly in retrograde motion, go direct within just a week of each other in the beginning of November in Scorpio. So it definitely, a tide is turning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, now let's look at the meditations. On November 4th, which is the new moon,
14th, sorry.
14th is the new moon. Why are you sorry? I said it. When you better integrate your male and female sides, you free the sources of creativity and open the doors to relationships. This has a lot to do with going back and forth from the 2 sides of your personality, the 2 sides of your brain. People who are very creative can equally access both sides, the logical and the intuitive, and they can move back and forth very easily. And there's actually body motions and techniques you can use to help you develop that. And this is a very good time to work on that, November 14th, at that new moon. The scent we're suggesting for there is either geranium or neroli. They're both deep. They're both very deep.
They really are. And it's just important to mention, again, that on the new moon we suggest using 1 essential oil because the sun and the moon, of course, are in the same sign when the moon is new. And at the full moon, there's 2 suggested that will represent each of these opposite signs.
And we're suggesting you place it in the 8th house, which is the house of cooperative power. And this is why, balancing the 2 sides of your personality is so important, or integrating them is so important, because in any relationship, you have to be both people. You have to see both sides. The 8th house is a house where a lot of things go high on you, the old skeleton in the closet. That's the 8th house. And so you really want to make sure you work on raising the frequency in that area so that you possess the power rather than the power being that which can frighten you.
And if you haven't done the placements in any other month, this would be a good one to take charge of the area that is most likely to be your own self-undoing. The place where you stub your toe, the place where, you stand in your own way. That's the 8th house. So if you want to just reprogram that, look in that number 8 section in any of the rooms that you use most, or even in the overall house, and you might find a repeating pattern where you're blocking yourself.
We would see that so many times with feng shui clients where you look at the main house and there was that issue, and then it would repeat in every single room.
Yeah.
Same pattern.
It's kind of profound.
Yeah.
And since it seems like, this is like a new beginning, a new direction, the Mercury and the Mars are showing you to move forward again. It's a good time to do that.
Yeah, it's collective power, shared power. November 30th, full moon meditation, the black box day, coincidentally.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it was me. Moi. How did my proofers miss it? Amazing. High intensity helps you maintain the best path amid the momentary passions and raging oppositions that could divert into destructive directions. Boy, talk about the need to stay focused in all this. There's going to be a lot of turmoil going on at that time, at that lunation. That in the time between that lunation and the next eclipse on the 14th is normally a very emotional time, the time between these 2 periods. It's just you feel more emotionally vulnerable, and everyone else does too. So be extra kind during that period of time.
I think it's important also to mention that, these 2 essential oils that we recommend on the full moon, they help to marry the energies, these 2 opposite energies, and bring them closer together to their midpoint where they have a point of commonality that can be beneficial and less problematic. So, again, this month, more so than others, should have a profound effect for many people.
Right, and that this month it's going to be orange and cedar, and really you could use any citrus and any woody together.
Yeah, but these are really they're really great together.
And they're fairly easy to find. And orange, the citrus oils are always good to have around the house anyway, just because they help to clean the air. As do the cedars. Both of them are great air cleaners. But then you're going to put them in sections number 3 and 9. So the Gemini section and the Sagittarius section, which is going to massively heighten communication, which is actually great since that happens to be Cyber Monday, the day of communication. Hyper communication. So do we miss anything?
Well, we did talk about some white circles and black boxes and the meteor showers. I think that the fact that these 2 planets have gone direct now has lightened the load, because we've had a number of planets that were retrograde. Pluto went direct last month, so that's direct now. And Mars and Mercury are adding to that. And everybody seems to be direct except for Uranus and even Neptune turns direct on the 28th.
Oh, well.
How do we miss that?
Huh?
So the only thing that's going to be left retrograde after the end of this month, after the 28th, is Uranus.
We actually did mention that. We didn't miss it. Also, it's interesting, on Thanksgiving, the moon is going to be in Aries. Okay, Aries can be a little bit argumentative. This is going to be the first Thanksgiving after the election. So when planning these things out, find ways to make sure you separate the people who might get into arguments. Okay?
Or have a no politics rule.
Or have a no politics rule. Play a lot of Enya in the background. That would be really helpful too. The ultimate Venus girl. But do whatever you can to keep people calm, because the moon will be in Aries, when with the sun in Sagittarius, so people are going to be outspoken,
Well, and it's a little bit late, but there's a void course from 3:45 till 7:42 when the moon goes into lovely Taurus. So maybe you have the family celebration a little bit later rather than earlier.
That whole area, that late Aries into early Taurus, those are the stars at the head of the ram. Really, be proactive, be strategic. Use your feng shui, use your design sense. To make sure you do as much as you can to make everyone play nice. Okay. And have some games for people to play to avoid people having discussions. Okay, that's just a little helpful hint. Helpful hint from Ralph and Lahni. So I think we covered everything.
Well, so we've been a little bit all over the board here in November, but what can you say? Sometimes life throws you a curveball and you have to duck.
Yes. Yep.
So thanks for tuning in, and you can rewatch any of our episodes on www.spaceandtime.com, and you can also see other forecasts, the Chinese New Year forecast, the global, and our television shows. So thanks for coming. See you next time.